If you want to ignore the rest of this video, June the 7th is when the last update came out, and June the 7th was the update before that too. Therefore, 1.21 releases on June the 7th. This is enough if you believe in patterns, but if you want to know when it's actually coming out, then you need to know about this official announcement from Minecraft, alongside the fact that 1.21 is breaking all sorts of trends for all of the updates that have preceded it. It is the longest we've seen a Minecraft update be in development without a name in Minecraft history, and it's also the most single feature focused we've seen an update be in the entire modern era of Minecraft. And so the big question is, what is going on with 1.21, and more importantly, what is the date when we can download it and have the fun? And I think the easy answer to that question would be this set of dates in June. It would be incredibly shocking if Mojang didn't release the update on one of these days, and in case that sounds like a bold prediction, why would we make the bet that it's going to release on 4 days which are all perfectly spread 1 week apart, or June 7th? And the reason for that kind of comes down to the modern era of Minecraft, where from 2017 to now, there has been one major update released per year. In 2017, this was the World of Color update, and then the year after was Aquatic, followed by Village and Pillage, the Nether update, Caves and Cliffs, the Wild update, and then Trails and Tales last year, which means in 2024, we know we are getting 1.21. The reason we are so sure of this is not just the fact that it follows this trend, but Minecraft themselves have specifically said it is coming out this year. That was never treated as a secret. That is something that both within Mojang and without, it is very widely known that every year there is a major update to the game. But what was interesting was that they went as far as to say it would be coming out in the next few months recently, which is kind of confirming what we already know about Minecraft's release schedule. They try to release the big update each year in the summer, and they have some pressure, either internal or external, that basically makes them do that. The biggest proof we have behind this is 2021, when the Caves and Cliffs update was the biggest and most ambitious project they'd ever planned, but they were not ready to release it anywhere near the middle of the year. And so what did they do? Did they delay the update? No, they decided to split it in two, and they made Caves and Cliffs Part 1, which is the weirdest husk of an update. They basically just released the things that they'd worked on and had finished, but it made for an update that was like playing a snapshot, and it basically was. They just released the snapshot as a full update so they could do the big marketing campaign around it, and it didn't make any sense to anyone internally, but it also makes a lot of sense to someone, whether that be, you could say, shareholders, whether you could say management, whoever you want to blame. They have a very strict target. Release this somewhere in the middle of the year, and I think it's even stricter than that. I think based on the Aquatic update and the Village and Pillage update releasing a little bit further away from this, and then them going very much back to the June release date schedule, I think it's very, very clear that they want to release these updates in June each year. I think there is a hugely interesting business reason which they choose to do this, despite any of the internal or external pressures. They need to release it at the same time, and I think this applies to 1.21, no matter how unique the content is or the announcement strategy. And even though the Trial Chamber is a new place and it's got spawners that we all want to chase so that we can get the mace, which is going to be huge for Minecraft announcements, they want to make sure they get this thing out despite any differences in content, because this is something which they are doing very, very consistently. In fact, if you want to see how ridiculously consistent they are with these release dates, check something out. I went through the release dates of all of the updates between Village and Pillage and the Wild update, and you'll notice every single one of these is the same day of the week. Just like how snapshots go out every single Wednesday, a major Minecraft update has to go on a Tuesday, but that Tuesday has to be in the summer. And you might now ask, why the summer? Why do they care about the timing so much that they're willing to release updates in whatever form they're in? Well, that's a good question. In an era of live service games, you would expect that Minecraft makes their money from the microtransactions on Bedrock or the sales of realms, and based on all the promos they do for this, it seems like that's true. But surprisingly at this point, despite all the years that Minecraft has been around, the sales they make every single year still goes up by the double-digit millions. This is insane, and it means that the reason that so many people can work together to make updates like 1.21 is partially because they're very passionate, but also the reason they can be paid salaries and Microsoft will approve the creation of these is because they know the updates sell copies. A counterintuitive part of releasing something new is how it draws attention to the old, and whenever a Minecraft update comes out, it does inspire people to relive their memories of the game. The biggest sales pitch that Minecraft can do effectively is to release a new update so that you'll buy a second or a third or a fourth copy, or potentially buy one for your friends so they can relive it too. And so the Trial Chambers and Mace will become new ways to inspire people to play the game again, and Microsoft have worked out that summer is the best time to get people into that, I would have to imagine that some of this comes down to demographics. People are just generally more free and more social in the summer. This is something I'm sure you can notice, at least I'm noticing as I'm getting older. People get very, very kind of reclusive in the winter months. They're like, yeah, I just want to hang around inside, which you would figure would be better for the video games industry, but interestingly, it doesn't seem to be. Very few games release in January. It's hard to convince people to spend money maybe, whereas when people get towards the summer, they start feeling more optimistic, which seems to convert into their wallet and their budgets, and so clearly this is why lots of games and movies start to release around this time, because it's when you'll be talking about them and when you'll do the word of mouth advertising, and that will make sure that your friends hear about the brand's new potions, or the wind charge, or even just the new armor trims. These conversations happen a lot more over the summer, and so that is why summer. Obviously, I think you could also point to the fact that there are lots of people in full-time education or full-time work of some form that gets out for the summer, and so that means there is a huge rush to make sure that something comes out in the summer. It's what caused Caves and Cliffs to have a release then, and it's what will cause the Trial Chambers to release at the same time. However, that still gives us a 3-month window. How the heck are we going to narrow that down to the 5 dates from earlier? And that can be summarized with another important point, which is the Tuesday release schedule. Something interesting you might notice about almost every new video game or film release is that it will come out on a Tuesday. Seriously, as soon as you notice this pattern, you can't stop questioning, why do all of these things release on the same day? And the answer seems to always go back to the days when things had to be physically shipped to stores where you would then later buy them, and so things would release on Tuesday, because then if there was a late shipment, it would be there on Wednesday or Thursday, rather than on a weekend when the store might not be open. That sounds like kind of insanity to this day, but honestly, every single digital release will still come out on a Tuesday, just following this trend. It seems as though the whole industry is set up around Tuesday releases, and so even Minecraft updates, where they basically have free reign to release them whenever they want to do it on a Saturday or a Sunday, want to do it Monday at 4 AM, they have full choice over day and time, and they still seem to pick Tuesday, and so clearly they have seen some benefit, either in marketing or in just the uptake of people picking up the update by releasing them on Tuesdays, and that is why of the last 8 updates, 7 of them have released on a Tuesday, with the notable exception being the Trails and Tales update, and notably that didn't release on a Tuesday, but released on the same day of the year as last year's update came out, and so you can sort of call it a Tuesday plus 1 year if you want to, although that is fair to say it's the only non-Tuesday we've had, and therefore, when is the next Minecraft update releasing? Tuesday in summer, which really only gives you a few dates, which we can then narrow down even further, because one of the great parity additions since 1.16 has been the fact that every single update that contains the same features will come out at the same time on both Bedrock and Java Edition. This is really handy because it means that we can predict one of the 2 updates if we happen to know when the other one is coming out, and Bedrock just so happens to be the more predictable of the 2 platforms. The reason behind this is the fact that when an update is finished on Java, as soon as it has finished the pre-release process and the release candidate process, it is ready to come out and able to be enjoyed by all of the users. However, the Bedrock version of an update has to go through all of the same internal processes, and then it needs to be approved by the Microsoft Store or the Nintendo Store or Sony or Apple or indeed the Google Store, and this means that there is a significant slowdown, and so development has to be finished a couple of weeks before an update can come out for everyone. The logical consequence of this would be a 2 to 3 week down period where no work can be done because all the existing work is just being approved by a platform holder, but then they realized they could just consistently release updates, and as soon as one had finished and started going into certification, they could start working on the next. This is why Minecraft Bedrock has a very consistent release schedule of trying to release a minor update every 1 to 2 months. It works out to be something like every 6 to 8 weeks in reality, but what this means is that we can be very sure that after an update has started the preview process, it is going to be coming out somewhere around the 2-month mark from that point. And do you want to know something fun? After 1.20.80 comes out, it has already finished all of its previews, they started working on 1.21. Obviously, they've been working on 1.21 via the experimental features, but the next update that we'll be releasing is called 1.21.0, and so the preview numbers have these 0.21 at the end, but they're working on that final update, and although we could assume that it might take an extra week here or a couple weeks there, they started working on these, and the first version came out on the 3rd of April 2024. Apply the couple of month time period, and you would expect that this update is coming out around June 3rd, or potentially as early as June 4th based on that Tuesday schedule, and so this is when you can expect a Minecraft update. Obviously, it's the final update, it's a big one, there's achievements to add, there's extra things to do for major updates that might delay this by a week or 2 or 3, but looking at past previews for 1.20 and 1.19, it is unlikely to be delayed a significant amount, and that is why we can be so sure that the business interests align for this update to come out in June, but so do too the actual betas and previews and development cycle, and so unless something disastrous happens, there's a giant fire at the Mojang office, or if they realize that actually there's some huge flaw in some feature that has to be removed and re-added another way, unless something huge happens with this update, then 1.21 is going to release on Bedrock sometime in early to mid-June, one of the Tuesdays in that month in fact, or potentially June the 7th if they want to follow that trend, and that means that we can narrow down the update as coming out in one of these 5 days with a severe bias towards the earlier days in June. Again, I'm kind of putting on the June 25th date here as just being generous. I think that if we realistically look at this, Minecraft 1.21 is coming out June 4th, June 7th for a Friday, or June the 11th. I would say that those 3 dates are really about a 99% chance, and I would love to make a bet about eating bananas or about eating chili peppers, but I would hate to encourage Mojang to move the date for that, because we confirmed that's what 4J did with the chili pepper bet all the way back in the day. So let me instead say, yes, this is something I'm willing to stake my reputation on. Mojang are going to be announcing this somewhere in the next couple of months alongside a lot of other things. I imagine the 15-year anniversary is most likely for that. This is just a guess based on the fact that that's the next big event, but Minecraft are clearly waiting for one last big 1.21 announcement, and so as soon as that happens, I'll let you know, and then you can come back to this video and say, wow, Toycat, good job on getting it right, or, wow, Toycat, you did so terrible, I'd never trust you again, and that's entirely fine, because I, obviously, the reason that I have to put so much thought into when an update's coming out, it's not just so I can have a video of a fun title like 1.21 release date, it's partially because I cover 1.21 on this channel, and it's important to know when it's coming out for the various videos you know to expect, like 21 things not to build, or the big update questions, which, by the way, I'm excited to do this year. Again, last year we did 5 big update questions all in one day. It was a very, very stressful and hard to do day, but it is something I want to do again for this year. Lots of your biggest 1.21 questions will be answered, and hopefully you'll enjoy that. But hopefully you enjoyed this video too, and consider subscribing, because it works out either way, right? Either I'm right and you subscribe and you get to see these early insights that aren't meant to be public yet, or it goes the exact opposite way and I'm wrong, and you can come back and you get to rail on me about that. That would be a lot of fun, don't you think? And so that is my subscription pitch today. More seriously, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you're looking forward to seeing the announcement and all that sort of stuff. And indeed, I hope you're looking forward to 1.21. I know I am. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.